clip I want to play you is a story of, let me find this clip. Rob, did I text it to you or not? I may or may not texted it to you. If I didn't, let me send it over your way. Here's a man who he is being interviewed to talk about what technology has done to our kids and what the role of technology has been historically every single time we introduce new technology to kids. Rob, I want you to play the one from X because it's a lot cleaner without the start. So here's Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, okay? Let's forget about his middle name, but Dr. Jared Horvath is giving this message, and I want to, can you go all the way to the top, Rob, for me to read some of the quote? Okay, he breaks down, deliver the brutal truth parents and educators need to face. His core warning, Gen Z is the first modern generation to be, well, I'll let him say it. Rob, play the clip. It is so powerful. How long is it? Man, we can't watch the whole thing, but we'll watch the first 2 minutes. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, guys. My name is Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath. I'm a former teacher turned cognitive neuroscientist who focuses on human learning. And I do not receive funding, nor have I ever from big tech. So a sad fact our generation has to face is this. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Since we've been standardizing and measuring cognitive development since the late 1800s, every generation has outperformed their parents. And that's exactly what we want. We want sharper kids. And the reason for this largely has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition. Congratulations, you see your correlation. Until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Gene was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries. Bring it home to the US. Let's go to the US. We have our NAEP. That's our big data. Take any state. Here's a fun experiment you can try. Take any state NAEP data. Compare that to when that state adopted one-to-one technology widely, and watch what happens. The NAEP data will plateau and then start to drop. Now, as Gene said, of course, this is all correlative. What we really want is causative. To get causation, what you need is academic research and you need mechanisms, explanations for why we're seeing what we're seeing. Luckily, we have academic research stretching back to 1962 that shows the exact same story for 60 years. When tech enters education, learning goes down. In fact, one of the biggest ed psychologists right now, Dylan Wiliam out of the UK, recently said, ed tech is a revolution that's been coming for 60 years, and we're gonna have to wait another 60 because it ain't doing anything. Now that's research, but now we need mechanisms. Luckily, over the last about 2 decades, we've been doing a lot of work in what we call the science of learning. How do human beings learn? And we now have the clear understanding of why tech does not work for learning, and it is all biological. It's not that the tech isn't being used well enough, we haven't been trained enough, we need better programs. It's we have evolved biologically to learn from other human beings, not from screens. And screens circumvent that process. I won't go too deeply into the mechanisms, they can get boring, but just know they're there if you want to talk about them. So that leaves us with two options. Option one, when you know something is wrong, do better. So we could just say, hey, mea culpa, get some of this tech out of schools, go back to what we know works, some analog methods, cool. Or two, we could redefine our terms. We could redefine what it means to be an effective learner. I want to end with one quick story here. Think back to your childhood, to your schooling. I guarantee all of us at one point took a test on reading comprehension. And the way it looked is this. Here's a passage of about 750 words. Here are 10 to 12 questions about that passage. Most of them are inferential, not factual. They're asking you to go beyond what you just read to see what you understood. Cool. Last year, the SATs had a reading comprehension section. Here's what it looked like. Here's a single sentence of 75 words. Here's one question, fact-based, about that sentence. Next. Here's another sentence of 75 words. Here's one question about that sentence. Next. Last year, they redefined reading comprehension to mean 54 short sentences with one question about each. That is skimming. That's not reading. Why would we ever do that? Because what do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress. That is
exactly. Exactly. What a powerful thing that this fellow's talking about. Tom, your thoughts on this?
So married to a teacher, I'll tell you a very, very interesting story here. They've done tests with live human teachers. And what they did, they took a group of kids and they told the kids. And Dennis Waitley, The Psychology of Winning, he talked about this in I saw him give a talk. This goes way back. I think he passed away a couple years ago.
No, he wrote one of the best motivational books of all time that athletes read, business owners read, business salespeople read. It's a phenomenal book.
Yep. And so what do you talk about? A teacher goes into a class, an average public high school that's in a marginal area of town, not downtown, not uptown, just average. And what they did, it was like 5th grade. They said, by the way, all of the students in this class, according to the tests that we've been taking, are high achieving students. Congratulate yourselves. You're all high achieving students. And so what they did, they kept reinforcing that. And they reinforce it. And Kim can tell you about this. Guess what happens? The test scores there were better than the previous year's class of student. Why? Because what did they put in the kid's head? The assumption that we're going to do well, and it was human teaching, looking at them and directly complimenting them. Wow, Elon, that's really, really good. But this is why you're all in here this class with us, where we're all going to do very well together, where we're all very good at this. And so what happens is it goes right into here we go, the subtle what of what?
Low expectations.
Correctamundo. That's exactly what it is. So human teaching and connecting with human and instilling, quality impressions and then teaching human to human works best. Now, can you read a book? Can the textbook be on, an ebook? Sure, it can. And if you're going to read and read and read, it can. But this is absolutely correct that digital leads to skimming and skimming leads to lower comprehension. And now even the SAT has completely taken a left turn. If the SAT or the Stanford 9 would go back to taking the large blocks and then test inferential, there would be a parental uprising in America. But against who? The teachers' unions in every town. And we can't have that.
Do you actually think it's better to take the technologies out, Tom?
I think if the technology is only used to so you don't have to print the book, I I like that. I want human connection.
You know what happened yesterday? I'm having a conversation with one of the younger boys in our family. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this in a way that we can't figure out who it is. Love this kid. He's phenomenal. Very, very good kid. So a week ago, I bought him a book. Okay, and I gave him this book 9 days ago. And while he's with me, I ask him a question. I say, "By when will you finish this book?" Now he's not a reader, so he doesn't read books. And school grades is okay, but he's not like a straight A kid that aces everything. That's not him. His strength is in a different place. He's got a high EQ. Okay, not on this side. So he's got a very, very high EQ. So, anyways, I said, "When will you finish this book?" He says to me, "By next Friday," meaning 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I said, "I'm going to ask it to you one more time, because whatever you tell me, I'm going to hold you to it. When will you finish this book?" He said, "No, I'm telling you by next Friday." I said, "Okay, no problem. I'm the wrong guy to make a commitment and say and not do it."
Oh, yeah.
He says, "No, I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen." I said, "Great." Friday, he texts me. I said, "Where are you at?" He said, I'm at page 50. I haven't finished the book." I said, "Yeah, listen, I'm not interested in this kind of stuff that you're doing with me. If you want me to work with you," and then I asked the parents, "How much leeway are you giving me to challenge your kid?" I specifically asked him, I said, "I want to be aligned because I don't want you to come back and say you're pushing too hard." And they said, "We're on the same page. We're aligned." Fantastic. I'm going to push them. And if you're okay with it, I'm going to go hard. No problem. Text me. I'm not responding back because you didn't respond back to my commitments. Great. Calls me yesterday, sends me a report, finished the book cover to cover. And late at night, 8:30, whatever time it is, he says, "Hey, when can we talk?" All day he's texting me, "When can we talk? When can we talk?" I said, "When I get a time, I'll call you." So I call him. And I said, "Go ahead. What did you take away from the book?" He starts telling me what he took away from the book. Tom, it was as if he saw a new world, because he's never read it's not a business book. He doesn't read books like this. And by the way, it's a phenomenal book that every parent who has a kid playing sports, you have to have your kids read this book. We probably sold 5,000 copies of books today, and we're not even, none of these books are ours. We're terrible at selling. But so he's like, and he said this. And then he was telling the story about this girl, and he said this. And then this one girl that was playing tennis, and he said this. You could see the shine. Versus, when the phone is, he's always like this. Because it's always on. It drives me insane. Our kids, my oldest son is 14 years old. He still has no social media. He's the only kid that has no social media. Zero. He has nothing. His phone, it's only because he goes running and mom's trying to get a hold of him. Dylan's like, "Dad, when can I get a phone?" All my friends. Senna's 9 years old. Her friends at 8 years old had cell phone and social media. The kids have nothing. It's so hard to keep it apart for this long. By the way, can we recommend a book, Rock? Can you pull up the book? It's called The Game of Tennis. I think it's a green book, Rob, if you can pull this up. It's got nothing to do with tennis.
Inner Game of Tennis.
It's the inner game of tennis, of mentally developing the mindset that a ton of professional quarterbacks, athletes have read this book. Coaches have been recommended this book. It's an incredible book to read, The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galway. Look at the number of reviews, by the way. 9,872 reviews, written in 1997, and the forward is Pete Carroll. You kind of see this. I think
Coach.
Pete Carroll. So what are your thoughts about what he said in the video?
I think that